Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I will share with you my updated price targets for Bitcoin and Ethereum as the market is continuing to sell off over the past couple days. And so the question becomes, how low will these prices go? Now, as a trader, it's not my objective to pick tops and bottoms. I'm more interested in target levels that I can get engaged at with minimum risk versus potential profits. And so via basic tactical analysis, we can identify potential targets. So let's jump over to the charts, and we'll start with Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart on the Binance exchange. And so what's on my radar right now is Bitcoin's price action basically getting squeezed down, and eventually I'm looking for which direction is it going to break out. And so if we take a quick look back to when Bitcoin dumped all the way down to 30,000 and then had a nice bounce, which a lot of people are starting to think might have been a dead cat bounce, but we did see a nice bounce back up to the 42,500 level. However, it did reject from that level and a few days later sold off to 31,000. From which it did bounce. However, we did not reach back up to the 42,000, and the highest we were able to get was just about 41,000. And since that time, the market has rolled over and we're currently selling off. Now, some of this sell-off was fully expected. With the end of the month options expiring, you do typically see a sell-off. So some of this sell-off, again, was totally expected. And so what I am keeping an eye out for on this 4-hour chart is, can we bounce off of perhaps this trend line and set a higher low in relation to the 30,000 and the 31,000? Now, something else to note that was kind of a clue on this chart that we were headed for a sell-off is the RSI bearish divergence that actually set up on the high after this bounce, and then we set a higher high. However, the RSI was lower on this higher high, and when that happens, you get what is called bearish divergence. And so that was a clue that perhaps we were headed towards another sell-off, which did actually occur. And then we ended up setting a lower high, and so this could have been confirmation of the incoming sell-off. And you could have perhaps taken a short position based on this intel. Now, a few of the targets I'm actually looking at on the 4-hour chart, as you can see, obviously is going to be this 42.5. Until we get back above that level, the bears are in firm control of this market. Also, a level on my radar is the 30,000 level. If we break down through that, we have pretty much open air down to 22,000. And I do have a limit order open at the 22,000 level because I will be a buyer at that level. I always look to buy when everyone is selling. And on the flip side, I obviously try to sell when everyone is buying. The idea is buy low, sell high. So with that being said, the low side target would be 22,000 after 30,000. And then on the upper side, like I mentioned, we're looking at 42,005. And then from there, the next level that has my interest is the 51,500 level. If the bears can actually push above this level, then there's a probability that the bulls could charge higher to the next all-time new high. But until we get above 42.5 or this 51,500 level, which you see back here was resistance and more than likely will become resistance on the way back up. And so if we jump over to the 1-day chart for Bitcoin and we drop in the Fibonacci extension and we'll basically swing low to high, we can see a similar setup, which again is a good idea to get additional intel. I don't look at just one time frame, but if I get confirmation on the 4-hour and the 1-day chart, that makes that intel more valuable to me. And again, we're looking at that same type of squeeze going on right here with the price action on the 1-day chart. And if we look at the 618 fib level, it is very close to that 42,005 level I was looking at, and you can see we actually rejected from around that level. Also, you can look back and see we rejected on these two candles at that 42.5 level. So 42.5 is definitely setting up as a target of resistance on the way back up. Now, on the way down, obviously, we have the 30,000 target after that dumped right into 30,000. Now, below the 30,000 level, like I mentioned, it's pretty much open air, and the next fib level is at 21,976, and therefore the 22,000 level is confirmed by a Fibonacci level of 1272, and that's at the 21,976, so slightly below the 22,000. So to quickly recap on Bitcoin, I will continue to watch this price action squeeze and looking for which direction it's going to break out. If it breaks down, then I'm looking at 30,000 to become support. If that fails, then my next target is at 22,000. Now, if to push this price action back up, then I'm looking at 42.5 to act as resistance. If the bulls can break through that level, then we're looking at the 51,500, which you can see acted as resistance previously and more than likely will act as resistance again. And from there, we've got a long way to go before we can even start to talk about this 60,000 or 59.5 level. So those will be the targets I'm watching on Bitcoin. Now let's jump over to the ETH chart. Now on the ETH one-day chart on Binance, you can see I have the Fibonacci levels already dropped in. And in the previous video, the price action was actually looking a little bullish as the moving average had started to move sideways and the price action was actually moving up. Now that has obviously changed and the bears have pushed the price right back down and they breached the 618 level of around 2,700 I wanted to see hold. Since that did not hold, the next level we were watching was around 2,200 and that was the 786 level. So we went from 2,700 right down into the 786 level, and this candle has come in and actually touched the 786 level with a wick and is still a threat to breach down below. Now if we breach down below that level, then I'll be looking at the 1900 level that this wick on this candle came in and touched and then rejected from. After that, then we're looking at the 1700 level as the lowest target currently, where the wick on this candle rejected away from. Now 1700 fails to hold the line, then the next Fibonacci level is the 1272 level, and that's just below the $1,000 mark. So I would put a limit order down here at around $1,000. I'll buy ETH all day long if we can get that $1,000 price target. So with that all being said, let's take a look at if the bulls can actually get back in control. Where might they take this price action to? Well, the first level is obviously going to be the 618 level, and that's around $2,700. After that, you can see the next fib level is right around 3,000, which in all probability will be pretty firm resistance. After the 3,000 level, the next Fibonacci level is going to be at the 382 level, and that's just around 3,350. So somewhere between 3,300 and 3,400. And if the bulls are able to push through that level, then we're looking up at the all-time high, and it's pretty wide open to about 4,000. And so to quickly recap, the first level I'm looking at for the upside would be around 2,700, then 3,000, then around 3,400. Now on the downside, we need 2,200 to hold. If 2,200 fails to hold, we're headed to 1,900. If 1,900 fails to hold, which it is more likely that it won't since 1,700 occurred more recently, that's probably the target you could look at rather than 1,900. And then worst case scenario, be around 1,000. And so I think that pretty much wraps it up. In reality, the bears are currently in control. And until the bulls can push the price action above some of those upper level targets, the bears will remain in control. And the threat of the crypto market continuing to sell off is very real. And so I will keep you updated with these price target videos, so now would be a good time to shoot the subscribe button. If you like this video, do me a favor, spike a like. If you have any questions or comments, drop those in the comment section down below. And remember, never send your money into battle without first doing your recon. See you in the next video.